Hey YouTube, Moosecow here with a major announcement. As some of you know, the Madman and I have been hard at work on our own global variant of Accidentalized 1914 for quite some time, having teased prototypes at past BBR events and occasionally mentioning it on my channel. We are now at a point where we are getting ready to release it for public consumption. This unique 1914 global we have branded and called Kings and Kaisers, getting away from the Accidentalized name entirely. A and A, K and K, that was kind of the thinking on my end. After many playtests and design tweaks, our map is copywritten, locked, and finished. We also have files for setup charts, national objective cards, an income and victory point tracker. Right over here, there's a little prototype right there. And we have a battle board, also another prototype. And we have Madman and I have a prototype card deck for the national objectives currently. So we each have one of these right now. Let's see. The manual is also underway, and that's currently being revised, but the revision will be ready soon. But that is also ready for people to look at it as well, but it will be revised. Currently considered like a rough draft status, pretty much. But while it's safe to say that minor changes or corrections to the manual and rules are likely over time, we think it's safe to say that our map is locked, and here it is. There's a reason for everything in our map. The original 1914 game was just a map of Europe and Africa and the Middle East and like a sliver of North America. And as you can see, as you can plainly see, our map expands upon that to a global game containing influence from Line in the Trenches 1914 global map, Cobra Wargaming's Great War Game, and of course BBR, while incorporating our own original ideas into the mix. As you can plainly see, we went with a BBR style map with a solid color scheme, but with a completely different color palette to represent the depression of the times, so to speak. This map was made by the Madman with my direction, but he's the graphic designer who created this thing. And after months and months of us playtesting, researching, fine-tuning, this is it. Madman did a fantastic job. This map is gorgeous. We're both very proud of it. It's awesome. So I'm just going to go over the map a little bit with some of the things that we've done. As you can see, it's very much designed not as an accurate map, but for to give as much surface area to play with in the theaters that matter most. So, as you can see, the Western Front is huge. France is ginormous. Germany's really big. So it's not an accurate map. Africa is crushed significantly smaller because, in comparison, a lot less action does happen down here, but we do have a good amount of action in Africa. Africa is not a boring theater to play in this game. We got North and South America don't matter as much, but they are here, and obviously you can see it's squished. The Pacific Ocean is also squished. We have Japan in the mix because, I mean, action does happen over here, but this is going to be, you know, it's World War I. This is going to be where the mass of your game is going to be concentrated here. But we do have action in the Pacific. We got action in China. We have action even in Russia if the Civil War is triggered. And we have possible action in North and South America as well. But for the most part, yeah, it'll all be here. And continuing on, we have now, we changed a lot of territory names. So instead of a lot of territories in the original 1914 map were named after cities. So all of this, for example, was Sevastopol. And then Hanover right here, this was originally called Kiel. So we changed everything to either a regional title or a province title. And so yeah, Kiel is now Hanover, and we split territories up accordingly. So we have Western Ukraine, Eastern Ukraine, that was split into 2 territories. Sevastopol was split up into 3 territories. Now it's Crimea, Caucasus, and Volga. Tatarstan was split up into Kazan as well, things like Kazakhstan and Turkmenia, that was split, things like that. What else? Oh yeah, so we have capitals, we have victory cities, we have minor cities, and those all play into points. We changed that. We have some walk-on territories. We've added a walk-on territory from Denmark into Sweden. We have a walk-on from Ireland to Yorkshire, Sicily to Calabria, and Hainan to Kwangtung is a walk-on. What else? We've added more impassable territories. We've got the Pripyat Marshes. We have the Ural Mountains. We have the Outback. We have the Arabian Desert. We have the Amazon. We also have the Alps. So this is now, you can't just go from Burgundy to Piedmont. You got to go around it. What else? Oh yeah, we corrected a few borders. The original border for Bulgaria was wrong in the original 1914 map, and that was actually one of the things that really sparked me to make this map, because I was so irritated that the rules for this part of the world in the original 1914 map with the Allies can just go through the Strait of the Turkish Straits. That doesn't make any sense. You can't do that, right? So anyway, they can go and invade Bulgaria via amphibiously via Sea Zone 32. Things like that. So the Bulgaria border was corrected. A few other territories or borders were probably corrected. One of the really huge things that I'm very glad we did, we took the undertaking of redoing all the sea zones. So it starts here, Sea Zone 1, and then goes down the Atlantic, Baltic Sea, down to the Mediterranean, continues this way, and then wraps around again, finishing up the Pacific Ocean over here. So it starts with Sea Zone 1 right up here off of Iceland, and it ends Sea Zone 75 down here off the coast of Chile. So that's awesome, because you're not jumping around and be like, what sea zone is this? What season? Et cetera, et cetera. It's all, the sea zones are all in a very easy to read manner to find. And they continue, like I said, it continues 1 all the way down to here, 12, back up, continuing this way, etc. Okay. What else? We did change a few things. Albania is no longer pro-Italy. Bulgaria also got changed from being pro-Ottoman to pro-Austro-Hungarian, because that made more sense. We've added a few islands like Crete and Cyprus, Malta. We added Gibraltar. We cut Spain up from one territory into multiple. We also added Rio de Oro. We did get rid of the Balearic Islands because it just took up space and clogged up the sea zone, so didn't really come into play, so we got rid of it and put a convoy there. On that note, we added convoys, and you're all familiar with how those work. And there's a ton of convoys in the Atlantic for the German subs to mess with. There's a bunch of convoys over here. We have Japan in the mix. China is a neutral, but in our game, the Chinese National Protection War, which was a small civil war that happened, that comes into play. So you got to play that out before China joins. Shout out to Cobra Wargaming. I inquired and asked him about how his China worked in his Great War Game, and he explained it to me. We didn't really want to go with a Line in the Trenches version of the Warlords version for China, but after corresponding with Cobra, understanding how his worked, we implemented a version of that. So it's different than his, but it's very similar in some regards. But yeah, shout out to Cobra. Super cool guy. Love what he's doing with the powder keg and all that. He's making another map as well that is skewed in terms of not being globally accurate, but for play purposes. So it's a kind of a little bit of influence from ours, I guess. That's how it kind of goes with corresponding. Anyway, so bouncing, us designers just bouncing ideas off of each other. Japan, we got here. We added as many German Pacific territory, colonial territories, as we to beef it up a little bit. So there's more territories here than in Lion's version. Like we added Palau Islands, for example. Then you also have these Marshall Islands, Marianas, Caroline Islands are the German name Carolinen, for example. We've split India up into 2 territories. We have capitals. Capitals have a building represented, and now we have victory cities, which are red dots, and we have minor cities, which are white dots, and those all play into the victory point system. that we have. And our victory point system, on that note, our victory point system is a free-for-all, essentially, in terms of, unlike BBR, where it's just the axis victory points, right? No, in this game, it's either side acquires victory points. Either side acquires victory points. Whatever they start with does not count as a point. It is solely what victory points they control by the end of the game, and a lot of those are cities, and a lot of those are other things like favorable trade and all that. So we've done some other set of adjustments, like I was saying. Austria-Hungary is more or less the same, but Russia's it has been changed due to their capital is now Petrograd, but they can move it provided certain criteria met. They can move it to Moscow. So they have two cities here, but that is the capital, and they can move it to Moscow. Petrograd in Ingria. What else? There's so much to go over with this map. It's a great map. Let's see. We gave IPC to Corsica. We took Portugal and Belgium. Portugal and Belgium and their respective territories are now pro-UK territories. They are not pro-French territories. To make up for that, they have 2 IPCs for French Indochina. We gave them an IPC in French Polynesia, and all that jazz. And then they have a couple other units on the board, like in French Indochina and French India, respectively. We've added a sea zone in the Mediterranean where it felt appropriate. If I'm repeating anything, apologies, but it's a lot to go over with. This has been a long time in the making. A lot of really cool stuff here, and very much looking forward to playing some games with it. We also made Mexico is pro-German, along with Chile is also pro-German. So some possible conflict can happen here as well. Keep the allies on their toes a little bit with that in that regard. Let's see. Mongolia is 3 territories, so that's kind of fun. Let's see. Okay, well, anyway, that kind of goes over the map for now. In terms of the game itself, it's designed as a 10-round game. We've added cavalry and expanded units such as trucks, zeppelins, railguns, bombers, hero units, etc. And those ones aren't like required to play, but you will need cavalry for your nations. And we have a completely new technology style that we call field technology, where unlike BBR, where it's like a superpower, it's technology that directly influences territories on the board. And I'll get into that another time, in detail another time. We also have a new political situation, which makes this very interesting and gives players a lot of different options. So right away at the beginning of the game, only Austria-Hungary, Germany, France, and Russia begin the game at war. Everyone else is a neutral unless certain criteria occur. The US comes in the game in round 5, not 4 now, and British Empire, the Empire of Japan, the Ottoman Empire, and Italy begin neutral unless attacked or one of their aligned territories is attacked. And then by their turn in round 2, if they're not yet at war, they can then jump in at that point, essentially. And then again, we have the Russian Civil War can ignite, so you can potentially have, you have the main game in Europe, but then you have a game going on over here, and you have a game going on over here in China. So you have all these like really cool things that can happen at the same time. It's really cool to see the action happening in this part of the world, in this part of the map that you don't normally see happening. It's really cool, and you can also just play. You could technically play just the Russian Civil War or the National Protection War. You can play those as little mini games if you want to play just those. You can certainly are able to do that. So you have a lot of different options in this game, right? That's basically what I'm getting at. Now, I'm sure what you're wondering is, how do you get the map? How do you get the map and the components? the map is available. Reach out to the Madman at grandcommandgaming@gmail.com if you're interested. It's going to be $45 to Madman for the digital files. That's all components and the map. The battle board, setup charts, card deck, victory point, and income tracker. The rule book is public and is free, but that's going to be revised significantly sometime soon and will be updated. This has all been a project of ours in our spare time, so improvements and fine-tuning of the rule book are kind of inevitable, but I've been making a lot of progress with that. So that's going to get an overhaul soon, but it is you're able to look at what it currently is right now, which I would describe as a really cool rough draft. If you'd like a hard copy of the map from the Madman and therefore creator approved, then that will be extra. It'll be the cost of the map plus shipping. Madman is printing these on 3mm thick Durat smooth vinyl from his local printer. So he's been talking to this printer for a while. The guy's very familiar with what Madman wants. And just to kind of give you I'll get a little closer, but you can see just this map looks great. It's so good. It's not like a BBR. It's not like a lot of BBR maps. I think are printed on scrim vinyl, and so they get this like grid texture to them, and you don't have that at all with this map. This material is great. I love the feel of this stuff. Anyways, so yeah, if you want a copy for Madman, obviously you got to pay him for the files to kind of help reimburse him for his time and how much work he's put in this. We've been working on this thing for months, at least a year or so, I want to say at this point. We've been really busting our butts on this. Hard copies again of the manual and card deck will come at a later time when that is locked down further. Again, reach out to Madman for pricing options, etc. And expect announcements for physical copies of the other components as well, like the VP tracker, the cards, etc. Again, yeah, like I said, Madman has some maps ready, so if you want a map, he will send it to you. Just reach out to him. Again, that's at grandcommandgaming@gmail.com. Madman and I will begin our first YouTube war of Kings and Kaisers very shortly, likely the beginning of next week. Per Madman's request for a rematch from our last playtest, he will be playing the Central Powers while I play the Allied Powers. So let's hope I can roll the dice better still, but we'll see. I'm just going to go over it a little bit again. Let's see. So, super cool. This map is just all sorts of beautiful to look at. It's great. Very happy with this, with the way this turned out. All right. Well, so stay tuned to the channel for more content and our game, which will hopefully be next week. I will be going on a trip soon and then be coming back, and once I get back from that, we will be getting into it and rolling some dice. So stay tuned. Take it easy. Again, hit up Madman at grandcommandgaming@gmail.com if you're interested in getting the files or the map from him, and we'll go from there. But yeah, expect to see some more content on our game from him and myself very shortly.